Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at this Elesall Rechargeable Camping Lantern. So this was provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description on Amazon. And if you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost you anything extra. Here we have a charging cable. This charges with micro USB. The cable is around 20 inches long. Here's the lantern. And here's the user manual. Here are the specs. The material is ABS, light source is cob, power supply is rechargeable batteries. Work modes is cob high, cob medium, and cob low. So let's take a look at the lantern up close. So this is made of a hard plastic. On the top we have a hanging loop, and this will press down so you can clip it onto something. We have a clear lens. So this has 6 cob LEDs. Cob is chip on board. We open this port up here. We have the micro USB charging. We also have a USB-A port, so you can use this to charge your devices. So you can use this as a portable power bank. Now when I'm camping, I'll typically take a separate power bank, but in an emergency situation, if this is all you have, you can use this. But I like to reserve my batteries for the light itself, if possible. Here we have the power switch. This kind of flares at the bottom to make it a little more stable. And then the bottom says open or close. We can rotate this. And here we have a thing that says 1.5 AA battery. So this looks like it previously used to be a battery operated model that has been converted to lithium, but it's using a similar mold. So they've taken this space here and turned it into storage. So, something you could put in there might be the charging cable. So you could stick that in there and store the cable inside. Of course, you could also store other things in there. You could store some first aid supplies, matches, medicine, things like that. But that looks very handy. So according to the Amazon description, this is water resistant. Now they don't list an IP rating for this, but I would imagine just looking at this design that this would easily handle something like a basic rain. So let's turn it on. So I'll press this button. So the light is on. Press it again. We're on the medium mode. Again, we're on the low mode. Now you may see a little flicker from there, and that is due to the way this dims the LEDs, but you don't see those in person. We press it again and it turns off. Okay, so I'm going to go shut the lights off and then we'll look at this in the dark. Okay, so I have the lights off. I'll turn this on. So this is on the high mode. And in my camera, it looks darker than it does in person. So I'm just going to kind of describe. In this mode, I see the paper. It's super easy to read. I'll press it down lower. Very easy to read the paper here. On the low mode, I can very easily read it in this mode too. Now, I tend to like brighter light when I'm doing detail work, but if I just had to use the lower mode to read, I'd be perfectly fine with that. So now I'm going to raise it up about 4 feet, and this is on the high mode. And now the lantern is mostly over the paper. So if I move it to the side, it will brighten it up a little bit because it's shadowed right under the lantern. So at this distance, I can read this. I would say in this form, it actually looks a little brighter on camera than it does in person. If I was repairing something, I'd probably want the lantern a little closer so I could see detail work. But if I was camping, say preparing a meal, or maybe playing some cards late at night or a game, this would be plenty of light for that. Let's turn it down to medium. Now on medium I can read this, but it wouldn't feel real comfortable to read that for a long period of time. Then on low, I mean I could read this, but I'd be kind of struggling and it'd be pretty slow. Now on the low mode, 4 foot above this bench, I would consider this more of an ambient light. So maybe you're sitting around the campfire, maybe you have some snacks put out on the picnic table. You could have this over there to kind of light it up so people can see what they're doing there. But if you're doing any kind of detail work, you're probably going to want the brighter light. So now I'm going to point my camera at a wall that's about 4 foot away so we can see the light this casts sideways. Okay, so I have the lantern and the camera about 4 foot from the wall. I'll turn this on high and you can see the light that this is casting. I'll turn it on medium and then low. So this pushes quite a bit of light out the sides. So in an emergency situation, if you're using this in your house, this would put a lot of light out. It would reflect off the walls and really light up the room. So let's take a look at charging this. This charges with micro USB. So we'll open up the tab here. We'll plug in the micro USB. And the other end will plug into a USB charger. So you could use a phone charger, you could use a car, you could use an outlet that has a USB port on it or a computer. So we're currently charging at 0.37 amps. So that can vary depending on the state of the charge of the lantern. So that makes it very easy to charge. And as I said earlier, you could also plug your phone in here to charge your phone off the battery inside of the lantern. So I'm going to do some runtime tests on this, and I'll insert the results now. Okay, so I did some runtime tests on this. On the high mode, I got 3 hours and 43 minutes. On the medium mode, I got 3 hours and 59 minutes. So there was really only a 16-minute difference in the runtime between the high and the medium mode. And then on the low, I got 18 hours and 25 minutes. So with runtimes like that, I would typically use the high and the medium for more task work, where you're doing a task and you want that really bright light. But if you're camping or something, if you put it on the low mode, that'll give you runtime so you could actually use this for a couple days. So at 18 hours, 25 minutes, you could use it, say, 6 hours each evening. Now, one thing I want to point out is when I ran the tests, it was on high, and then it would get to a point and it would turn low. So it was still putting out light. It didn't shut off until later, and I didn't keep track of how long that would take. So if you're using this for some task work, it doesn't just shut off immediately. It goes to that low mode, and then it would stay on there for quite a while afterwards, until it gets low enough where it shuts that off too. So that's the Elesall Rechargeable Camping Lantern. I really like the compact size of this. It doesn't take up a lot of room. It's also very lightweight, so you could hang this from the inside of a tent very easily. This would also be nice around a campsite or an RV site. You could set it on a table or hang it. Makes it very versatile. Since this uses a lithium battery with the cob lights, you're going to get a very bright light, very lightweight, and a relatively long runtime. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you liked this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.